Greetings, my dear beloved children. Well, let us go on talking about the relationships between people and the light forces. And now I would like to focus on one more aspect of these relationships, financial one. Since you live in a material third dimension world, even your liaison with the higher powers has become an object of commodity money relations. For any service for the side of God or saints, they started to charge fees. Church gathers tribute from its congregation for every service of the higher powers, assuming the role of an intermediary between them and an individual. Exactions start with the selling of candles, prayer books, icons, and finish with ceremonies of christening, wedding, and funerals. Religious power institutions maintenance requires big money, and one pays for one's spiritual enslavement with one's own money, giving one enslavers not only energy but money, too. So, what is congregation money spent for? First of all, it goes to the pockets of the intermediaries between God and people, and, secondly, it is spent on the maintenance of religious confessions that have gained enormous size now. Have you ever thought why in the age of highest technologies religion is still very powerful on earth? Why are religious holidays unanimously celebrated all around the globe? Why are religious issues sustained, often artificially and formally, in all the countries of the world? Only because religion is one of the most powerful means of human conscience control. When temporal power institutions cannot cope with people, they are given a helping hand by religious institutions that turn to their leverage for congregation control, since many people trust ministers of religion much more than authorities' representatives. As a matter of fact, not in a single country of the world has church ever got separated from the state, since it has almost always had representatives of the high caste reptiloids at the head, and sometimes the dragon reptiles, and the aims of all the branches of power have been one and the same. But even in this patrimony under control of the state, there sometimes appeared light and pure souls who sincerely tried to help people embark on the course of spiritual development and establish liaison with the light forces. Many of you are likely to feel the difference in energy profile between the temple reigned by the astral and the one with the energies of love and light hovering all over. But most regrettably, there are almost no pure religious abodes left on earth, in spite of the fact that temples, churches, and mosques were erected, as a rule, on sites of great energy potential. But this energy potential is often used for abstraction of the energy far from being light, which many of you already know. Why am I telling you all this, my dear? The only reason for that is to make you fully aware of the fact that you do not need any intermediaries to communicate with the light forces. They can just lead you astray from your invisible patrons and make your communication with them more difficult, introducing into this process energies and programs alien to you. So as to reach one heavenly patrons, one needs to be sincere, pure, and simple, featuring warmth of one heart and peace of mind. In other words, high vibration energy of love and gratitude. It is the one capable of minimizing the vibration gap between an individual embodied as human and disembodied beings of the higher worlds, as well as with your galaxy brothers and sisters. This is what I've been trying to convey to you for almost 5 years, and I see that many of you are already at the very threshold of the wonderful temple of universe unity and unconditional love. Today I will tell you about the way your interaction with the light forces occurs and what can be the sign of your having managed to contact them. I know that now many of you are trying to talk to your higher self, safeguard angel, to some of the ascended masters, and even to me. You are eager to gain the long-awaited unity with the light forces and establish communication with them so much, and the fact that you rush things often throws you back. The thing is that, my dear, just a wish is not sufficient in this case. A desire is often initiated by mind, your ego. Strive for breaking free from the bounds of the usual round and get exceptional and, as it seems to you, refined divine abilities of communication with heavenly beings. As a matter of fact, you can communicate with the light forces on equal terms, just like with friends, for both you and they are particles of the whole one, with the only difference being in that at present you are embodied at the physical level and they are disembodied at the subtle level. And the only obstacle for your communication is a huge gap in vibrations preventing you from feeling and hearing each other. So, what should be done to make such contact real? Your vibration gap should be made as small as possible. Of course, you cannot ascend from the third dimension right to the sixth or the seventh one, but it is quite within your depth to ascend to the fifth dimension space by your conscience. And from there you will now be able to reach the light forces, who in their turn will be able to do everything possible to descend to your vibration frequency. The fifth dimension can become some kind of frontier post for your communication with the light forces. And now many people conscience has come close to the threshold of the fifth dimension. Not everybody is likely to succeed in finding the themselves in this high vibration space all the time, since a lot of distracting factors drag you back into the third dimension again. But when you are calm and balanced, especially in the open air far from the city haste, and your conscience is free from all irrelevant thoughts, you are quite able to catch the wave of the light forces you would like to address. How can you avoid mistakes and prevent unwelcomed astral guests from penetrating your channel? First, you should not think about it. Just the thought of possibility for the astral beings to be pulled to you instead of the light forces can attract them. Second, you should have pure thoughts and desires to contact your heavenly patrons, not out of curiosity or to send a fox message, but on business indeed. You should not bother them about trifles. To contact them only when you know there is the barest necessity for that. What do I mean by this expression? Before all, these are situations when your fate is at stake, when you must make a decision that can change your whole life completely, and when it is hard for you to arrive at the right decision yourself. In this case, the assistance of your higher self and your spiritual patrons cannot be overestimated, since they see all the possible developments and can point you out the most advantageous course of life for you and your family. And third, invoking some of your heavenly patrons, it is essential not to feel being a petitioner at a lower stage of development than they are, but to ask for their advice, as they are just equal, close and more experienced friends of yours. It will be enough to minimize your vibration gap and feel your unity. As a follow-up for my previous message, I will tell you now about main signs you can rely on to make sure that you are really spoken to by the light forces, not somebody else. First, these are those feelings appear at your upper chakras and pineal gland. Some people third eye may start pulsing, or you can simply feel it. Also, all your golden triangle can start pulsing, the seventh, the sixth chakras and the pineal gland, or you can feel them overflowing with warmth. Anyway, the arrival of the light forces is perceived only by upper chakras. The sensations at the fifth chakra and lower are manifestations of astral beings or representatives of low vibration civilizations, and the chakra they vibrate at depends on the level they have come from. Sometimes friendly astral beings of upper level vibrating at the fifth chakra can also give you a good piece of advice, but you should be aware that they are not the light forces. Second, the feeling of gratitude that filled all your being. You perceive the presence of the energies of unconditional love and light in your energy space almost physically. You will feel this energy is alive, intelligent, and being able to talk. This is how the divine essence of disembodied representatives of the light forces shows in the outer world. Third, you will feel that this creature can hear you and is ready to interact with you. As a rule, the light forces communicate with people not by means of dictations clear and distinct, which is astral beings' prerogative. They send into human conscience some kind of energy information packages that an individual should unpack themselves. Why does this happen? Of course, not to make your life harder, but to make you a full-fledged interlocutor, providing you with opportunity to participate in the conversation, taking into consideration your reality perception peculiarities. Thereby, the universe law of the free will is observed. Somebody else's opinion is not imposed on you. No ready-made decision is dictated, but some general information is applied that you are to process on your own this time and contribute your individual way of understanding of the current events. Fourth, if you ask a specific question, the answer never arrives immediately. The higher powers do not like haste and fuss, since they exist in quite different space-time parameters. So, be very attentive. Your passionate desire to get the answer to your question right away, and especially the one you would like to get, can decrease your vibrations and attract astral beings to your channel who are always ready to give you any advice or answer any question of yours, assuming whoever the name you invoke at this moment. The higher power's answer can be rather unexpected for you, since your conscience is still not free from the patterns of the third dimension world, and at the subconscious level you expect the information that corresponds to these patterns. Yet, even if this answer puzzles you, be attentive to your feelings. Your soul will respond by all means and will give you a signal as warmth running all inside your body or some other pleasant sensations. Yet, it is essential to switch off your mind at this moment. That will immediately lead your way to the usual direction of the well-beaten track. Give yourself up to your inner feelings, the ones you get while communicating with the light forces. My dear, learn to switch over your perception from the current events to other lines, inner feelings, not the games of mind. Today I would like to highlight some more important aspects of your interaction with the light forces. Many of you can be so obsessed by the desire to establish contact with your higher aspects and the light forces representatives that you try to artificially encourage this process. As a result, people fall victims to many traps skillfully set by the dark forces, which leads to regretful consequences indeed. Having relied on dubious masters, clairvoyants, guru promising a swift spiritual progress to people, and sometimes for big money, one gets not the promised revelation of one divine abilities but an astral instilled lodger that starts to control one conscience and sometimes one body. It is commonly known as possession. And now on earth there are a lot of pure light souls who, due to their trustfulness, lack of experience and desire to get everything immediately, have got into such traps that were designed by reptiloids and in some cases by the people living according to their programs. How can you identify that the voice in your head belongs exactly to such a being that has settled in your energy space? First, after communication with it, you feel exhausted physically and morally. It is accounted for by the fact that the main goal of an instilled lodger like this is abstraction of your energy, low vibration energy, by the way. And to make you generate the very energy they need, they go to all lengths. Being in your energy space, they carefully study all your thoughts, desires and dreams. They know you just as well as them themselves. Therefore, it is not difficult for them to dictate what you want to hear. They please your pride, dictating advanced spiritual texts, thereby supporting your arrogance and belief being chosen. They lead you astray from the straight and narrow, giving false advice on behalf of the light forces, thereby preventing you from living a happy, fulfilling life, since it would deprive them of the negative energies they need. But sometimes they get tired of their own hypocrisy and show what they really are, which is expressed as rude and unpleasant words and phrases in your respect. It makes one shocked and one cannot recover from it for a long time. So, this being also provokes a feeling of guilt in this person, as well as initiates lack of faith in one's strength. I know that many of you have already experienced something of the kind: euphoria from communication with your higher self or the light forces, and then disclosure of imposters, disappointment and realizing of one mistake. But, please, my dear, do not blame yourself and do not get discouraged, but take this new lesson with gratitude. Treat everything with humor, just as a performance played for you at the subtle level by astral beings, for it is their life and means of survival. But try not to trigger a backflash again. Learn to see through the subterfuge of the esoteric rascals. Trust only yourself and move on with confidence along your spiritual road, relying only on yourself and your own potential. As I numerously told you, nobody can ever do your spiritual work for any money instead of you, because you are unique and inimitable. While any intrusion of strange people into your energy space is fraught for you with rather regret